At 9 in the morning, she held her baby for the first time. By 9 at night, she was gone.
Same day.
Same room. Same hospital. This is what happened in between. I want you to close your eyes for a moment and picture this. A hospital. A maternity ward. The kind of place where life begins, where families hold their breath, then cry tears of joy the moment they hear that first cry. It's supposed to be one of the happiest places on earth. Now imagine that on the night of March 1st, 2026, something happened inside a hospital in a quiet city called Maplewood that shook an entire community to its core. It was a Sunday evening. The clock was creeping toward 9:30 at night. Emergency services received a call. There were reports of gunshots inside the women's wing of Riverside General Hospital. Not outside. Not in a parking lot. Inside. On the maternity floor. Police officers and firefighters rushed to the scene. When they arrived, they were led down the hall, past rooms filled with new mothers, sleeping babies, and exhausted but grateful families, to one specific room. And what they found inside that room, it changed everything. 2 people were found with gunshot wounds. Both of them were pronounced dead right there, at the scene, before anyone could even think about rushing them to another part of the hospital. The police locked the building down immediately. No one in. No one out. For hours, families inside that hospital had no idea what had just happened just a few doors down. Her name was Maya. Maya Alicia Barnes. She was 24 years old. And on that very same day, March 1st, she had done something miraculous. She had given birth to her first child. Her very first baby. She had gone through all of it. The pain, the fear, the exhaustion. And she had made it. She was a new mother. She was supposed to go home in a few days and start her whole life over again, this time with a baby in her arms. But Maya never got to leave that hospital room. The other person found inside that room was a 19-year-old man named Darius. Darius Cole. He was Maya's husband. He had come to the hospital as a visitor, as a father, meeting his newborn child. By all accounts, he had walked through those hospital doors as a young man who had just become a dad. What happened between the time he walked in and the time those shots were fired, nobody fully knows. What we do know is that investigators say Darius took Maya's life and then took his own. A murder-suicide. Inside a maternity ward. On the same day their baby was born. And that baby? That little child who had only been alive for a matter of hours? The baby survived. The baby lived. In the days that followed, reporters went looking for answers. They knocked on doors. They made phone calls. They sat with family members who were still in shock, still barely able to put words together. Darius's mother spoke to the press. She said her son and Maya had been having problems in their marriage, tension, disagreements, the kind of stress that had been building for a while. She said that leading up to the birth, there had been arguments. She mentioned that Maya had not wanted certain members of Darius's family at the hospital during the delivery. Whether that had something to do with what happened that night, nobody can say for sure. But here's what his mother also said, and this part is important. She said she never, not once, believed her son was capable of this.
She never saw it coming.
She thought she knew him. There were also reports that Darius had recently completed military training. That detail floated around in the early coverage, though it was never fully confirmed. No one filed a police report. No one had a restraining order. There was no paper trail of violence. On the surface, this looked like a young couple starting a family. That's what made it so hard to understand. And so painful to accept. After the dust settled and the police finished their investigation at the scene, a lot of questions were left unanswered. And some of those questions still haven't been answered. How did a gun get inside a hospital? That's the one that kept coming up. Hospitals are supposed to be safe places. The maternity ward especially, it's a place full of newborns, new mothers, nurses doing check-ins every hour. How does someone walk in with a weapon and nobody notices? In the city of Maplewood, as in many places, hospitals are not required by law to have security screening for visitors. Some hospitals have metal detectors. Some don't. Riverside General didn't have the kind of checkpoint that would have caught something like this. After what happened to Maya, a lot of people started asking, should they? Healthcare leaders and safety experts weighed in. The president of the Regional Hospital Association said that violence inside a maternity ward was extraordinarily rare, but that this tragedy was a wake-up call. She said hospitals were rethinking how they balance open, welcoming environments for families with real, meaningful protection for vulnerable patients. And then there was the question no one wanted to ask out loud. What was the baby doing during all of this? Was that child in the room? Authorities never officially confirmed where the newborn was in those final moments. That detail was never released to the public. It may never be. I've thought about this story a lot, and every time I come back to it, I feel the same weight sitting on my chest. Maya Barnes was 24 years old. She had just brought a life into this world. She was in a hospital bed, in the place she was supposed to be safest, surrounded by doctors and nurses whose entire job was to take care of her. And still, she didn't make it home. Darius was 19. Young enough that you still want to believe people can change, can grow, can become better. And yet, whatever was going on inside him that night led to something that can never be undone. And somewhere out there, there is a child. A baby who will grow up never knowing either of their parents. A child who came into the world on one of the most joyful days imaginable and lost everything in the same breath. This case is still under investigation. The police have not released a final motive. The full picture of what happened in that room may never be completely known. But what I do know is this. Somewhere in the grief of the story, there is a reminder. Domestic tension doesn't always look the way we expect it to. And the moments we think are the happiest, a new baby, a hospital room full of hope, can sometimes be hiding the deepest pain. Hold the people you love a little tighter tonight. And remember Maya. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to share, like, comment, and subscribe for more true crime story.